Hi, I'm Kirsten Whitehead. We met when you were in year one, and I'm about to do another teaching session with you. And I just wanted to help you to prepare for that by just going through a little bit of what we did in year one, very, very briefly, just a couple of minutes, just to kind of remind you of where we're at and to help you to prepare for the session. I have no doubt that you won't remember what we covered 2 years ago. So just to take you back, that year one session, what we went through was why communication skills are so important in healthcare. And we looked at policy and guidance, and we looked also at some of the literature on the impact of good communication skills or bad communication skills. We looked at some of the policy around patient-centred care, and I've no doubt that that's been emphasised to you in many different ways. So we looked at that background, and then we started looking at some of the skills that we need as dietitians in order to build up a good relationship with our patients or service users. And we started looking at attending behaviour. So we looked at the non-verbal communication, smiling, nodding, posture, our vocal tone, those kinds of things. We looked at things like minimal encouragers or encouragements, and that's the kind of and we looked at what we need to try and avoid, that yeah, okay, right, those kinds of things that convey agreement. So we're minimal encouragers are trying to remain neutral as possible, so that we're not saying we either agree or disagree or conveying judgment to our patients. So minimal encouragers, part of our everyday conversation, but can really help a patient think that we are listening to them. So it's getting that balance right. Smiles, nods, posture, giving that person our attention. So attending behaviour is all about giving that person our attention. We also talked about something called verbal following or verbal restatement, which is where you hear a word that the patient is saying to you and you repeat it back to them. Usually in a lower tone and quite quietly, not trying to interrupt them, but just to try and say, yeah, I heard that word. You said you were struggling. I heard struggling. You said it was quite difficult. I heard difficult. You said you were really happy about something. You're happy. So you're picking up those words, maybe a short phrase, but you're picking up those words. So we had a bit of a practice at having a go at those things and getting used to really showing someone that we are interested in them and we are listening. So that was our key things of what we covered. And I gave you some take-home points, so I just want to recap on those. So the take-home points from that session: good communication skills are essential in healthcare and in dietetic practice. They're not optional. And we looked at the code of conduct, the BDA code of conduct. It says, these are things that we must do. There's a good evidence base that they make a positive difference, and that evidence base is slowly increasing. And we know that patient-centred care, in order to deliver patient-centred care, you need good communication skills. So the first step was that attending behaviour that we've talked about in year one. What we're going to look at in this session is developing active listening skills. So we're going to be practicing some of those. So we focused on the foundations, getting that attending behaviour, practicing on that. You need those as your foundation, and then you start learning the active listening skills. And later on you will learn more strategic stuff, different skills that you can apply on top of your active listening. But those strategies don't work if you're not delivering attending behaviour and active listening skills. So that's our kind of triangle of importance, really. Active listening and attending behaviour are really motivational for patients. So we don't need to immediately be thinking about strategies like motivational interviewing. We need to be listening and paying attention to people first. So prior to our session, what I'd like you to do is just to if you can't remember anything that we did in year one, just refresh your understanding of those notes of what we did in year one, that 2 hour session that we had. I'm told you're already familiar with the BDA model and process. So I'm assuming that. So if you think you want to just kind of revisit that, and that's up to you. But make sure that you're familiar with that. There is a short 11-minute screencast on role play, observation and giving feedback. And I just wanted to prepare you for that so that we don't have to spend time talking about that in the session, because we are going to be doing role plays. There is a guidance sheet that has been put on Canvas for you on role play, so that perhaps gives a little bit more detail. So again, it will help you to know what you're doing, so you won't go into that hopefully thinking, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, because that should help you with that. We're also going to be looking at the Diet Comms tool. I've given you the link for that. Diet Comms is a tool for assessing and supporting your development of communication skills. We're going to be using that. I'm going to be referring back to that on numerous occasions. And Diet Comms tool, you will also be able to find on the Diet Comms training package. And I'd like you to read feedback sheet 1 on the Diet Comms training package. That's just 2 sides of A4, so it hopefully shouldn't take too long. But the idea is that you can think about the first thing you would be doing in a consultation, but thinking about it in quite some detail, and that is about meeting and greeting our clients or service users, so that we can do that well. So we set things off on the right kind of tone when we meet with people. So hopefully all of that should take you less than an hour. But hopefully you will then come to the session and be confident that you know what we're doing and prepared to actually spend some time practicing skills.